one of the biggest offshoots that went from the Ghosts of Ohio page to the Strange and Spooky World site is the idea of a crybaby bridge. And
Yeah,
I
tell us
was
about that.
fascinated with those when I was growing up in New York. There was one near the little town that I grew up in, and that was the Crybaby Bridge. And I mean, it was the basic story about a woman. She threw her baby off the side of the bridge, and if you went there, back then it was Halloween at midnight, and you flashed your lights 3 times, you could hear the baby cry. And I grew up believing that was the story. And then I moved to Atlanta, and there were 3 of them down there, almost identical stories. And I was like, well, what's going on here? Well, when I moved to Ohio, I'm actually, I think, up to almost 50 crybaby bridges in Ohio alone. And I decided, because people kept telling me, whenever I put one up on the Ghosts of Ohio site, they were like, well, you think that story is BS. That's because that's not the real Crybaby Bridge. The real Crybaby Bridge is here. And they would tell the same story, but a different bridge. And so I got the neat idea. I'm like, I got to start cataloging these things. So that's what I started doing on Strange and Spooky World. And I think I probably got close to 20 of them up there so far, which is basically the location of the bridge, the story behind the bridge, what we call the ritual, which is kind of like what you're supposed to do to see the ghost. And then we will go into any history of the bridge. What I'm looking for, not just in Ohio, but I've yet to find it, is the Crybaby Bridge. Did someone actually throw a child off the bridge, or there an accident that killed the child that led to these stories? And I haven't found that yet in Ohio. But interestingly enough, what I have found is a few of the stories, or a few of the bridges, you could say might be haunted because there have been murders, there have been bodies dumped on these bridges, and we put all that information up there when we do find it. And there's even one bridge that had an unsolved murder on the bridge. So it's kind of an interesting thing, again, going back to where you've got history and sort of folklore slamming into each other.